truly, before now, I didn't really know what actually a mouthpiece was designed for, other than to keep you from clinking your teeth together or biting your tongue. I had no idea that it was to align your jaw. The season that we did not use the Power Plus, we lost 4 kids, 2 that were season-ending concussions, and obviously we contributed to the Power Plus mouth guard because, like I said, we've not had one since we've been using them. Obviously, we've competed a lot better than what we did last year. We have not had a concussion this season. Obviously, a tremendous factor for us for not losing kids, and their performance level is a lot higher as well. My son was actually the quarterback on the second state championship team, but one of the things that he was able to do as being the quarterback, the mouth guard was on the lower part of his bite, so he was able to speak clearly. And that's a huge thing in athletics, is to be able to communicate.
Here at L4 Media, we talk high school football, 4A, 3A, and 2A in Texas. We talk East Texas sports. We talk NFL, guy talk, movie, and booze. We also talk wrestling and so much more. So like and subscribe and check us out.
Struggling with mobility, chronic pain, work, or sports injury? At Azalea Orthopedics, our team of highly trained physicians specialize in complete orthopedic care, pain management, sports medicine, physical medicine, and rehabilitation. If you've sustained a bone or joint injury, have mobility or movement problems, struggle with pain, contact Azalea Orthopedics. We're conveniently located across East Texas, serving 18 counties. When visiting your doctor, urgent care, or hospital, you have a choice. Demand Azalea. At Azalea Orthopedics, your health is our priority.
The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at netsn.live.
Welcome, everyone, to the Power Plus Mouth Guard Beast from the East Show. It's your boy, Brett Swinney here. Alongside me today is Jeremy Hubbard, KO Kyle Owens, Vincent Johnson, and CM Corey Marshall. And join us here in a second will be Christian Blevins. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Man, having a great weekend. Looking forward to a great week.
It's feast week, as Corey said.
It's feast week.
It is feast.
It's feast week. It's what it is. Tournament time.
It's also basketball season. Will be starting up tomorrow on NSN, so we'll talk more about that here in a minute. But by the time you probably listen to this show, they'll be already gone. But you can go back and watch the games that we have this week. Guys, some interesting games last week. We all got to see a few, and I saw a good one, a couple of good ones. Overall the competition level right now is just crazy coming into this week 14 for us on the Beast from the East.
Yeah, it's kind of that week where the Cinderellas, there may be one or two left, but they kind of start to separate, right? The cream of the crop separates from the teams who maybe stole one in week one, even maybe stole one in week two, and we're going to kind of start to see that separation here. I'm excited about some of the matchups this week. I know we're going to talk about a lot of good ones today, but there are a ton of good matchups all across the state with, not only teams that have done well this year, but just well-established programs as well.
Yeah, this is the best time of the year. I mean, the first couple of weeks you had some teams that got into the playoffs and had some, like Jeremy said, some Cinderella seasons, and there's still some Cinderella seasons going on, but you're kind of separating the contenders from pretenders now when you get to this regional semifinal round, and I think this is the most exciting time of the year, so I'm excited for it.
Who's hiding, who's not? Boom.
Yeah,
there we go.
pretty much.
All right, so we're going to take we did the pick'ems this week in order from when they start, so that way if you forget to submit your pick'ems, hopefully you don't forget. We'll be sending out reminders. But first game will be Friday at 1 o'clock. This game will be in Norville Field in Kaufman at 1 p.m. as 11-0 Winsboro takes on 11-0 Winsboro takes on 11-1 Whitney. Battle of only one loss between these two teams, guys, and we've talked a lot bit about Winsboro this week. Coach Finney and his son, that they got that father-son connection. They've done a great job. They've been taking care of business. We've all kind of talked about what we thought is maybe a possible Malakoff-Winsboro matchup could be looming. Kyle, you got to see a little bit of Malakoff, so you got some insight on them.
They're big. They're big. They're fast. They're big.
Well, we know Winsboro can fling the ball around a lot. I'm looking at kind of what Whitney has done this year. We don't really talk about them. They're not an East Texas school. But they've lost one game. It's to Grandview, which Malakoff took care of them earlier in the year, and they get a rematch this week. Not one of our games, so that's going to be a good one. But just looking at, they beat Tatum last week. I had Tatum last week, and I was really surprised to see this was a 50-14 win for Whitney. I mean, that was impressive to me. But I just think that this is Winsboro's year. I'm riding with the Finneys, and I'm picking Winsboro this week.
Yeah, we were in the booth together Friday night, Brett, when we saw that score for the first time, and it was never really even competitive, right? I mean, I think we all had Tatum. Whitney's had two big playoff wins so far. They beat Groesbeck by 53. They beat Tatum by 36. But I'm with you. I really love what Kyler Finney does. I love what Coach Finney does. Winsboro, big win last week over Teague. A very good by-district game against Atlanta. Atlanta team that got hot at the end, had a lot of skill position guys. It was a closer game than we thought. I think that tested them a little bit here. I'm going to go with Kyler Finney and the Red Raiders.
Yeah, this one's pretty simple for me. I'm taking Winsboro. I think I said it early on in the season. I think this is Winsboro's year. That was before I saw Malakoff. But I think Winsboro Malakoff, we'll see them next week. So I think it's been that in this region. I think it's been Winsboro Malakoff destined to meet at the end, and I think that's what we're going to get. But yeah, give me the Red Raiders this week.
Winsboro, 100% Winsboro. No explanation. Just Winsboro.
100%. Yeah, I'm picking the Wet Waiters. It's Winsboro. So I'm picking. Of course, I'm not picking not picking against the East Texas school, but I do have one. I do have one on this list, and I'll explain.
I know exactly which one it is, Corey. I already know, but yeah, I think this is going to be a really good game. But I just think Winsboro's too much, and I'm excited to see them match up against Malakoff next week. I think that's the game we've kind of been looking forward to. Hopefully, we'll get to see that. But we'll move on to game two. Game two is going to be Cooper and Garrison. A couple guys in here will be on the call. That me and Jeremy are going to be there. Vince, I don't know if you're going to be there or not with us yet, but
I haven't come to a conclusion yet. Boss lady said yeah, but she said yeah in kind of a weird way. So I got to make sure that's straight.
Okay.
And not even just that. One of my buddies is supposed to be coming into town. He wanted to go to the game too, and I was like, "Well, I'll be there, but I ain't gonna sit with you." So I don't know. I ain't figured it out yet. I might be there. If not, I'll be there in spirit.
All right. Well, either way, we're gonna be on the call for that one. We'll be doing that one for an FHS, and I'm excited. I've got to see Garrison the last 2 weeks, and just seeing them is just what they did to Beckville, and we saw that, Vince. I mean, Beckville had the best player on the field, but Garrison has some dudes. Like their offensive line is massive, and they've got some backs that can hit those holes. They're real. They don't really have a bruiser. Black is a little bit of a bruiser because he's a kind of a big, stocky kid. But they've got some guys. They've got Raspberry and the Yarbros, and then Davison every once in a while can hit a pass. I just like what they do. They're hurl run heavy, but when they need to hit you over the top, they can.
I was very impressed with Garrison. I was extremely impressed by Garrison.
Yeah, Garrison
Extremely
is
impressed.
man, their size is their biggest attribute to me. Like you said, Beckville had the best player by far on the field. And it was something I alluded to earlier in that game. I said, I wonder how long this can go on before eventually you get wore down. Because, when you that big, even when you tired, you still in the way, you know. But when you smaller than them, when you get tired, you get moved out the way. So, and I was wondering, okay, third quarter, this may change, unless you put some distance between you and them on the scoreboard early in the game. If you're fighting with them, in the second half, they're probably just going to wear you down because of how big they are. I still think Cooper is a really good team, and I really want to go with Cooper. I do, but seeing Garrison, man, it just makes me. I feel like they have a genetic advantage. So,
Well, you saw Cooper last year, Vince. They're pretty big too.
I know, but I haven't seen them this year, so I had to think about that. I was like, I didn't really watch them this year, but last year, yeah, they were big and they are talented. I'm gonna be honest. I wrote Cooper on my paper, but I feel like I have to go with Garrison because I went with Beckville last week, and I thought, D1 talent was going to outlast Garrison's size, and it didn't. It didn't.
And he was impressive too. Jacoby Williams, man.
He was, man. He could get it however you knew it was coming, and he still was able to pull it off. When he turned the corner, he was gone. He was gone. There was nobody catching.
We talked about this before. I think I can't remember. Jeremy said. I think you said it like early on, like week 2 or something like that. Like if you're a good athlete, pretty much good athletes can play anywhere. Like if you're an elite athlete, you can play anywhere. Jacoby Williams can play any classification. Like I see that he's going to Tech. That's a steal. That's all I'm saying. That's a steal. He's pretty good. He's pretty good.
They got one. They got one there.
But since I'm going to go ahead and make my selection. I'm going with Garrison. I've seen them play. I know what they can do. They've got size. They've got speed. They got the whole package to me. I think this is going to be a really good one. I'm hoping to break the Jeremy curse of every time Jeremy joins me in the booth, it seems to be a lopsided affair. So hopefully it'll be a good one, but I'm going with Garrison.
It might still be a lopsided affair. So you guys are talking about Jacoby Williams. Listen,
not this.
You're talking about Jacoby Williams, and they still lost the game by 2 touchdowns, right? Cooper doesn't have
But it
Jacoby
was close
Williams.
though. But that it was close.
But they don't have Jacoby Williams. Cooper doesn't have Jacoby Williams. Let me ask you this. So as a teacher, Vince,
okay,
students can turn in whatever they want to for homework, right? Mm-hmm. The homework grade is something that's easy to get. It's a freebie. And the true measure of whether you learn something or what you know is on the test. And I want you to tell me how many times Cooper's been tested this year. I'm going to tell you the answer before you even look it up. It's 1. And it was against Hooks. And what happened to him, Vince? They lost.
Hey,
they lost.
Honeygrove's a good team.
Stop talking about Honeygrove. Can we stop talking about this for a second?
Wait,
stop talking about Honeygrove. When Honeygrove beats somebody that's any good, we'll talk. Okay? Stop talking about Honeygrove. They were tested one time this year, and it was with Hooks, and they lost. Garrison went on the road to Timpson and should have beaten them. All right? If some things don't happen the way they fell, they win that game. They lost the game too. That's fine. But I'm just telling you, Cooper's 2 playoff wins against Frankston, 61-0. Frankston, not very good. Mm-hmm. They beat Shelbyville by 40. Shelbyville without a quarterback, without their top 2 quarterbacks, actually, they win by 40. Garrison rolled Leon. It was not even competitive. It was a TKO. And last week they take over the guy that you guys think is amazing, and Jacoby Williams, and beat him by 2 touchdowns. Right?
Wait, ho. You said you guys think. You don't think Jacoby Williams is
No, I
amazing?
think I haven't seen him in person. I think he's a great player. Yeah, but I mean,
Oh, okay.
I haven't
All
seen him.
right.
I mean, you were at the game, and I mean, whatever. But let me tell you about Garrison. You guys, we talking about running the football, right? Raspberry's running for 1,600 yards. Black's running for 1,500 yards. 40 touchdowns between the two. You mentioned Braden Davidson. He can throw the football when he has to. He's thrown 15 touchdowns, and he's smart with the football. Only 2 picks. We talked about this on the broadcast, Brett, when we had him 2 weeks ago. And by the way, he's run for 8 touchdowns. And you talk about how big their offensive line is. Their quarterback is one of
He's
the
a
biggest
middle,
people on the field.
he's a middle linebacker on
Yeah,
defense.
yeah. So I'm just, Garrison has been ranked higher than Cooper all year for whatever that's worth. I look at what they do running the football, and I look at Cooper and I think, okay, great. Yeah, they put up a lot of numbers. They beat a lot of teams bad. And it goes back to, where do you want to play football at? Where do you get tested at? In East Texas or up there where they're playing with Honey Grove and whoever else y'all talking about, right? Garrison's going to win the game, and I bet it's at least 2 touchdowns.
Um,
Wow.
How
that's tough to follow.
I know. It's like I ain't got nothing for it.
No, I did get to see Cooper against Frankston. It was a rainy night, and Cooper did what they wanted against Frankston. Like you said, Frankston, not the greatest football team. Cooper's big, though. They're big, too. I think – now, I haven't seen Garrison, only from what – on film. I haven't seen him in person. But I think size-wise, it's going to be pretty even. I don't think there's going to be a big size discrepancy between the two. But, yeah, man, for as good as Cooper is, I think Garrison – no pun intended, they got some dogs in them. And I think that they want to see Timpson again. And they know we just got to get through this team here, Cooper, and we get a rematch with Timpson with everything on the line. So, yeah, I'm taking Garrison. And I'm kind of leaning towards Jeremy's thinking that I don't think it's going to be as close as some people may believe. I think Garrison handles this one pretty easily. And, yeah, they're a rematch with Timpson next week.
And this is going to be an unpopular opinion. Cooper lost to Hooks, who everybody thought Hooks was one of the great teams in East Texas. And what happened to them last week?
I'm saving that for Wednesday. I'm saving it for tonight.
No,
I'm saving it for tonight.
I'm just saying, like, that's not going to be popular. But I'm talking about, there's a lot of teams not in the heart of East Texas this year that we thought were really good, that when they got to play some of these teams that we were questioning in East Texas, they couldn't handle it. I mean, what Dangerfield did to Hooks was borderline embarrassing, right? Like, for the second round. I'll say this about
disrespectful.
Well, whatever. I look at the scoreboard when it's over. KO, listen to me. You talk about the size thing. Yeah, it's going to be even up front. But the difference in Garrison and what everybody else can do is, yeah, it's going to be big up front. You might match their size, but you got to be able to catch those little guys when they take off with the football, because Raspberry and Yarborough and those guys, they hit a whole nother speed. And so, yeah, they don't need much of a hole to get there. And if they get outside on you, look out, it's going to be 6.
Raspberry is a blur. He is a blur.
He's good. Golly, he's good.
Ear to pocket is.
I wrote down Garrison. I wrote down Cooper, and then I scratched it out and put Garrison because of the size. I just don't. If this game turns out to be a whooping, this would just be a travesty. Because I still believe in Cooper. I know they don't have a lot on their schedule, but man, they were good last year. They continue to follow up with that greatness. I just feel like they should be able to compete. Especially Beckville, to me, outside of Jacoby Williams, didn't really have a lot to offer, and yet I felt like, for the most part, they were in that game almost the whole game up until towards the end of the third quarter, when you could kind of tell they kind of got worn down, and finally I guess it was Yarborough. I can't remember who it was exactly who broke that big run, Brett, that kind of opened things up for Garrison. And we started to speculate that now the gaps are opening up wider just because, everybody's tired now, in the third quarter. So I feel like you're not going to see that happen. That's what I think is probably the most likely. It's because of Cooper and their size. You're not going to see it just open up like that. If they go, matter of fact, I'm going to say it like this. If Garrison's going to win this game, they're going to have to outcoach Cooper. That's what I believe. They're gonna have to outcoach him. It ain't gonna be because of the talent on the field. Because I still believe Cooper has enough talent to keep up with him. But I'm picking Cooper. I'm picking Garrison. I'm just saying they're gonna have to outcoach him. That's all. And I
So
hope
it's Cooper or
it's like a
Garrison. I'm
7-point game.
confused. So it's Cooper or Garrison? I'm confused. Cooper,
Garrison. I'm
Garrison,
sorry, Garrison.
Garrison, Cooper,
I'm mixing them up.
Grayson, Cooper, Grayson. Um, no, I'm picking Garrison. My eyes, my eyes don't deceive me at all whatsoever, and I know what I saw. Garrison run the football too well. I'm interested to see when Garrison is behind. That's what I'm interested to see if they can come back. So, but I don't think they'll play from behind. Since they run the football a lot, I'm always leery of teams who run the football. Can you play from behind? And I hadn't seen them. They haven't had to air it out as much, but I don't think they'll. I think they got a good thing going. They can, if Cooper can stop the run, then let's see what Garrison does. But at this point, I'm picking Garrison.
Okay.
All right. Game 3, 10-2 Tenaha versus 12-0 Lovelady. Be a 2 p.m. Friday, Lions Stadium in Henderson. Man, you look at Lovelady and what they've done this year, going undefeated, that's tough to do. Doesn't matter, what kind of schedule. You have to come out there and win every week. They beat Carlisle in the playoffs. Of course, Carlisle was down. That's one of the teams they have in common. Tenaha beat them pretty similar to the score. I mean, it wasn't much difference. I think looking at Tenaha's schedule, the tough games on their schedule, they lost to ARP. We know ARP was pretty good this year. They got it spanked by DCAB, pretty bad. Their district, Overton was the best team in their district. Overton, great story, but I don't know that their schedule really helped them this year. Lovelady, their schedule doesn't really impress me either. They did win every game, so I'm looking at kind of some common opponents to look at that how they've done. So Hull Dalseta was one of the opponents that Tenaha played in the playoffs. They won 52-12. Lovelady beat them 64-0. That's pretty impressive. You look down here and Lovelady plays pretty good defense. They've allowed 20, 28, 12, 0, 6, 0, 0, 7, 7, 16, 14, 7. So the most points they've allowed all year was 28 points. That's impressive to me. You know how we talk about defense wins championships. I'm going to go with Lovelady in this one. I think they're going to be too much. I think Tenaha's had a great run, but I think it ends and Lovelady moves on, probably to play a 12-0 Mart or 12-0 right now Mart team. That'll be a really big matchup next round.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Lovelady too. And you mentioned the schedule. Both these teams pretty weak schedules, right? If you look at it now, the thing I'll say about this, if you're going to play a weaker schedule, what I want to see you do is blow people out. Like if you're a really good team and you got to play a weak schedule, then blow them out. And I've seen Lovelady do that a little more in terms of score wise than teams. I think their schedule is a little bit better than what Tenaha's is. I look at Tenaha, the big win in the first round last week, only an 8-point game over Dawson. Tenaha, it's a two-man show, right? In terms of the offense, it goes through Kenny, the quarterback, and Reese, the running back. Now, Jaterian Moore has had a great year with almost 60 catches, 800 yards, and 8 touchdowns. But if you can stop the quarterback, you got a chance. And one thing that I don't know this, is if it's defense may be optional sometimes in Tenaha. I think they're one of those teams, and it's worked for them. I think they're one of those teams that they want to score, and if you score, that's fine. They're going to get the ball back and go score again. That's what I feel like they are sometimes in these big games. So I'm going to go with Lovelady too, but it's really probably the hardest game to pick for me on the week because I think that we don't know what either team's going to do when they get tested, and we'll find out Friday.
Last week, I got to see a little bit of the Tenaha and Dawson game, And Tenaha, so many penalties, so many mental errors. I'm not talking effort penalties like holdings or pass interference or face mask, stuff like that. Like pre-snap penalties, false starts, delay of games, illegal shifts, like stuff that shouldn't be happening when you're 12 weeks into the season, as much as it was happening. And so that put them behind the 8 ball. They were down 14-6 at half, and then came out and won 22-14. So Tenaha has athletes all over the field. They have tremendous athleticism, but my fear is, can they put that all together and stop shooting themselves in the foot? I think Lovelady's a little more buttoned up as a team, a little more disciplined, I think. And so for that reason, I'm going to give the edge to Lovelady, and I'm picking the Lions.
I'm going with Lovelady. For all the reasons that y'all have already said. I mean, they no need to go over it again. Lovelady just. I mean, they just then to be able to keep up winning like you have been, even if you are not playing, like you said, even if they're not playing top tier talent, blowing them out and stuff like that. That's what you want to see. Um, yeah, Lovelady. That's what I'm going with.
You know, I've for the past 30 some years of my life, I've always passed through Lovelady going to Huntsville. Always. It is the smallest town. The football stadium, if you kick it over, if you kick a field goal, it'll hit us. It hit somebody's car on the highway. That's
Or
how
go over
small
that,
it is.
or go over the highway.
Right. You know where it is.
Yeah.
It is, and I'm like, they got good football there. Like, I mean, you get through Crockett, it's like Crockett's got a history for. I'd be glad when they get back to what they used to be, because they used to be really good football. But anyway, I'm like, Lovelady's got football. Like they playing like big time football. Lovelady, no disrespect. They haven't had any lean years in Lovelady. They've gotten what 5 double digit wins in the past 7 years, 5 seasons,
Yeah.
and 14-1 in 2019, I think. So, hey, did my bad, Lovelady, my bad. But you know what? I'm picking Tenaha for the upset, because you know what? I'm
Mm.
picking them because I know I'm gonna pick the boy. I'm gonna pick the evil that I know. I know the Tenaha, no Tenaha Tigers, and I'm not picking the Lovelady Lions. So it's Tigers over Lions today. But no disrespect to Lovelady. Lovelady has an impressive offensive line. I think they have a culture at Lovelady, and it's gonna be athletes versus an established team. So I'm gonna pick athletes this time. I'm gonna pick a ton of Hall over Lovelady.
All right. Game 4. We have a big matchup, probably the biggest matchup. I don't know. You could say one of the biggest in the whole state. It's going to be a showdown in that Shine Tree Stadium, Pirate Stadium over there, Corey. The Pleasant Grove, man, Pleasant Grove and Carthage, guys. This is huge. This game, both teams at 12-0. We've talked about this one all year long. What did we talk about from the very first of the season? Who was the team that I thought that could knock off Carthage? It was Pleasant Grove. I think it's their year. You just go down and look at their schedule. They've just been destroying folks. Like they had you could call it a close game against Liberty Allo. They won by 15. The Brock win is still impressive. Brock is going to be moving up, I think, to 4A Division II next year. They've got the numbers, so we know how the tradition that Brock has, and that was a 10-7 win early in the season. I just think it's their year. Pleasant Grove has played a really tough schedule. You can say that Carthage's district's probably tough. The game against Kilgore, yes, that was a tough one. But I think right now, I think it's Pleasant Grove's year. You're welcome, Eddie. It's Pleasant Grove's year to beat Carthage. If they don't beat them this year, they may never get that chance again because Carthage is only going to be better next year. But give me Pleasant Grove in this one, guys. I think it's going to be a classic. And I'm excited to catch some highlights of it.
Yeah, I'm rolling with you, Brett. Me and Eddie and you are going to be riding in the car together to Arlington when the Hawks go. I just think, we've talked all year. You're right about Carthage. If there's a year for them to get beat, it's this one. I think this Pleasant Grove team is ready with the Kari Johnson, what they do offensively. We talk about blowing people out in the playoffs. That's what they've been doing, right? They beat Rusk by 54. They beat Caddo Mills by 53. Um, I golly, it is going to be a great game. It's hard to pick against the tradition, the history of Carthage. It's hard to this is their time of the year, right? This is when they play their best. I just think it's PG's time. I think PG's going to get out of there with this one.
For the reason that you just ended on is the reason I'm picking Carthage. The history. I can't in good conscience. I have no doubt. Sorry, Eddie. I have no doubt Pleasant Grove has a fantastic football team, and I'm not disputing that at all. Jet Surratt's playing better football right now. He has grown throughout the season. Braden Manning's starting to step up again and catch some big passes offensively. I can't go against Coach Surratt and the Carthage Bulldogs. I can't bring myself to do it until they get beat. I am not picking against them. So give me Carthage. Sorry, Eddie.
Give me Carthage for every reason that KO just said. I am not picking against the King. I'm done with it.
I can't do it.
I saw Van and I got hyped up by their defense, and I thought, okay, yeah, they're gonna be able to hold Carthage at bay because the quarterback at Carthage,
This ain't Van they're playing, Vince.
This ain't Van. But I'll say this. I remember last year talking about PG, and then Carthage put them back in their place, and then Eddie went running. And Eddie, I didn't see Eddie for months. So you,
I'm going on vacation.
Jeremy, Eddie, y'all can all go in that box together. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I know what Carthage is. And until that coach decides to go on to the next level, I think he's gonna always dominate.
So since it's feast week, I do have to make this. I always got to bring back to basketball. So I think it was maybe 5-6 years ago. Duke played Michigan State, and in the huddle, Mike Krzyzewski, it was a close game. In the huddle, you can hear him saying, "Guys, this is a program game. This is program versus program. This is who it is. This is exactly what this game is. This is program versus program. Obviously, Pleasant Grove doesn't have as many titles as Carthage, but they are just as successful as Carthage has been in recent years, right? I mean, they're right there. If they one game against Carthage here and there, they're in the state championship game, right? They don't lose that one game. It happens. I got you. This is exactly what it's a program defining game for Pleasant Grove. You gonna let the big brother keep bullying you, or you gonna take him down?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? I've been lifting weights this whole time in the summer. I've been preparing for this. There's only one person that's standing in between you and the state championship at this point. It's pretty much it's Carthage. That's who it is. You gonna finally knock them out, or you gonna keep taking punches? I don't think it's close. I think Pleasant Grove make a statement. I think they blank them. I think they send Carthage home.
I'm about to turn this off.
I think they
y'all tonight because I'm in the wrong room. Because I am in the wrong room.
Corey. Oh man, blank them.
Listen,
I'm telling you.
Okay, hold on. Maybe you don't understand.
I'm telling you.
They both have
I understand exactly what I'm saying.
They both have the common opponent of Liberty Allo. They both put 42 on Liberty, but Liberty was able to put up 27 on PG.
Hey, look at the Russ.
Didn't give them nothing.
Russ common opponent.
Listen,
Carthage didn't give them
I
nothing.
don't care about common opponents. And you know what the record is right now?
What's the record?
It's 0-0. It's 0-0 this week.
All right, then I'm gonna just say it like this.
Who's playing their best football right now?
You see what?
Who's playing their best? Who's playing their best football right now?
Carthage.
Look at the Russ score of both games.
Did you see the Pleasant? I'm not looking at the schedule. What week was that? Was that week 5? I'm not looking at week 5. I'm looking at week 14. Looking at week 13 right now.
Russ just beat Russ in the playoffs 61-7.
Okay.
And they only and Carthage only beat them 49-21.
Okay.
But you want to do common opponent, then you can throw that in.
So all right, you're right. I get it.
And Rusk is significantly better than LE. Rusk is
Yeah.
significantly better than LE.
But again, I'm gonna default to one thing that makes the most sense. Carthage has been here for 10 years. I appreciate you, PG, for participating, but you have always
Wow.
been number 2, and you're gonna stay number 2.
Wow.
You're gonna stay
Wow.
number 2.
Wow.
And really, let's be honest, you was pretty much number 3 because we was praising Gilmer for a while. I'm just gonna put that out there. But
You know what's funny? You know
What?
what's funny, Vince? You know what's really
What's up?
funny?
Hey, you can say what you
You
want,
have
man. I'm just
you
not.
got a
I'm not
dog. You
doing
got a
it.
dog. So I'm gonna let you
I'm
know.
not doing it.
You know, UConn, Gino Auriemma has won, I don't know what, he's got 8 titles, 8
Okay.
something titles at UConn.
Okay.
What are they ranked right now? When was the last time they won a championship? They
It's been a
got
while.
beat, didn't they? It happens.
So what I got to do
Best
with
gets
Carthage?
beat. The
What-
best
what I gotta
best
do with
gets
Carthage?
beat. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Well, there's
best
all,
gets
Do you
beat.
feel like Carthage is wearing down though? Do you really feel like that?
I feel like Pleasant Grove's got something in their back pocket Carthage don't want.
okay, but Vince, you've been saying all year Carthage was the year,
I
right?
did, and every
you-
time they
Okay.
came up against that opponent, they destroyed them.
But they haven't played PG yet. I remember you
Fair
thinking
enough.
Center was going to be Carthage. You
I thought
said
Center was gonna do it.
you thought Van was going to be
I
Carthage.
thought Van was gonna at least be close.
I'm with you.
Listen,
I'm with you.
He's better than
Yeah.
both of those by a long shot.
But PG's better than both of them.
What did
There's-
Debo sell? I'm sorry. What?
I'm saying there's to your point. There's always a time when the next team has to take over, and it feels like this could be it for them.
You
Like-
think this is okay?
There has
Okay.
to be that moment where somebody's going to take it from them, and it just feels like this is it.
But just
This-
looking
this-
at
if
the
this
way
is their
Carthage is
time-
rolling, it seems like every time they
Listen.
play somebody who's supposed to be that. I'm not saying I know PG is better than both of the two that I put up there, but I'm just saying it feels like every time Carthage plays somebody that's supposed to be that type of team, they destroy him.
I'm gonna tell you, if PG doesn't win, if PG doesn't beat Carthage,
It ain't even that. It's
I wear a Dallas Cowboy hat.
no, you're not.
Whoa.
No, you're not.
Wow.
I'm tell you this. I'm gonna leave it at this. I'm gonna leave it at this. What did Debo tell Craig at the beginning of next Friday?
You know what, man? What'd he say?
What's
What'd
up,
he say?
Craig? It's the what? It's the
Yeah.
rematch. This is exactly what's happening.
So
PG comes out
I just
and they're taking it to Carthage and they blanking them. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, it's lunch money time, baby. It's lunch money time. Pay up. Pay up. Pay up. Tell you what it is, man. They tired.
when did
they've been working hard this whole
game
week.
played? When is this game played?
Friday.
When's the game?
Friday.
This is on Friday.
2:00 Friday at Pine Tree.
We need a live stream on Friday.
Hey,
I've
will be
never
live streaming.
heard of a 9-time state champion be disrespected so much. Shut out, Corey. Shut out. Come on, man.
Hey,
Yeah,
the
You gotta
disrespect
give a little
will
more
be
respect to
televised.
Carthage.
Yeah,
The
You're talking about the
disrespect
9-time
will be
state champion.
televised.
We're not talking about we're not,
just nine.
we're not
just
talking about
nine.
Dallas Cowboys
Just
champions
nine.
back in the
Just
90s.
nine.
These are
They're
recent.
not getting the
Guys,
10.
These
They're
are
not
I have an
getting the 10.
idea.
It's
I have
just
an idea.
nine.
How about Corey and Vince go to this game and we live stream them watching the game?
Arguing with each
TV.
other.
Yeah, that would be excellent.
it would be something.
Oh man, I got
Be
my
my
red
bad
on
luck.
too.
It'd be my bad luck.
That's why we went with the Vince. Me and you are the only ones
Only
rocking the
one,
red. That's-
yeah, only one.
Hey, I have a
Tell
red
you
on
what
my
it
hat.
is.
Yeah, but that's for somebody else, I guess. A Winsboro or somebody, because that ain't for Carthage.
No, I just
You know
think
what PG?
Me
You know
and
what
Vince
PG
rocking with
stands
the
for?
I
champs.
will say,
You know what
though,
PG
that
stands for? You know what PG stands for?
Parental
Probably gonna beat Carthage. That's exactly what it stands for. Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
Let's
probably.
go.
No, let you tell it. Let
Hey,
you tell
I'll
it. It's
tell
for
you
sure
what.
gonna be Carthage.
I'll just say this, guys.
We'll see what Carthage do with probably.
I told y'all from the very beginning of the year that I thought this was the year. I thought PG was the one to knock them off from the very beginning.
Man.
I thought so too, but
And so
the season has changed things for me.
I mean, PG is dope though. Let's
I
go
don't
on.
know.
Let's go on because I could talk about that game all day.
game 5, guys, will be 11-1 Kilgore versus 9-2 Needville, 2:30 p.m. Friday from Randall Reed Stadium in New Caney. Man, this was a good matchup, guys. We saw Kilgore in Bay City last week. That was one of the games that Jeremy and I had on, and we're kind of keeping our eye on. And Kilgore struggled a little bit. Bay City, put it to them. They were ahead at one point. Kilgore was able to get out with a 9-point win. I think that probably ticked them off. I'm going with Kilgore in this one, guys. I've seen them play. I just don't see how. I'm looking forward to a possible rematch here next week if Chapel Hill's able to win that game. But I just think it's Kilgore, and I think maybe by a couple touchdowns.
Let me help you out here, Vince. Let me help you, Vince.
Hmm?
Here's all you need to know. Kilgore beat Bay City by 9 last week.
Mhm.
Okay. Rough game, whatever. Bay City beat Needville 50-17 in district play. It's the Bulldogs. That's what you read for on your hat. KO. It's gonna be Kilgore big in this one.
Just to be clear, I had Kilgore 3 weeks ago. I'm waiting on this rematch between them and Chapel Hill because I don't like the way they handled us the first time around.
Yeah, this is pretty simple. It's Kilgore all the way. And I know we'll talk about the Chapel Hill game later on, but I can tell you for sure, Kilgore is advancing. Now, the Chapel Hill game, we'll talk about it. Kilgore is advancing, no doubt.
Okay. I already said Kilgore. Corey, what you got? Come on, say something crazy. Say something disrespectful. Come on, make it a show. Come on now. You already at the bottom. It don't matter no more. I just want to hear what you got to say.
Wow.
I just want to hear what you got to say at this point.
Man.
You trying to come back because I owned you that last round. But anyway, no, I'm picking Kilgore. I'm picking Kilgore.
Okay.
I thought Needville was like a poor man's Lindale. And this level of competition. They got a nice offensive line. I just don't think they have enough to beat Kilgore. I wasn't surprised at the Bay City game because I thought Bay City was scrappy. You know what I'm saying? I thought they came ready for a fight, and I didn't think Kilgore was ready for that. That same thing Bay City kind of did Chapel Hill the year prior to that. I don't think Chapel was ready for a fight, and Bay City kind of brought it to them a little bit, and then they're a little bit better, and I thought they competed. I knew Bay City was going to compete. But the same thing that happened with Athens and Kilgore as well. Of course, we know Kilgore didn't have some guys playing, but the Athens came out and they made it a fight. But I don't think this is a fight at all. I think Kilgore handles business because they understand, you almost let one go. Like you can't do that. Like what's the goal? What's the mission? You can't get sidetracked. The mission is week 1. I mean, not week 1, but 0-0 each week. Got to come out here and compete. Don't ever disrespect your opponent. And you got to take care of business. So they got to take care of business against Needville. I think they'll win. Won't be by a big margin, but I think they'll win.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Game 6. This game will be Friday at 4 p.m. in Memorial Stadium in Commerce. The 8-3 it's Aubrey Chaparrals versus the 9-3 Gilmore Buckeyes. Man, this is a tough one to me, guys. I thought for sure a week ago that this would be Van and Gilmer in this game. I know another game that Jeremy and I were watching, and Aubrey just smacked Van in the mouth, man. Just put it to him. And if this game would have happened and it was going to be Van and Gilmer, I was going to go with Van. I just thought, that's what I've seen from Van this year. They've been the better defensive team. So I'm going to go with Aubrey, guys. I just think that from what I've seen, they've had some tough. Frisco, Panther Creek, they lost to them. They're a really good team in a higher classification. We know how good Anna is. They just knocked off Shauna Springs. And then a close loss to Sunnyvale, who Gilmer won last week, but that was week 1. We talk about that. I think right now, from what we see from the teams, that Aubrey's looking better as far as what we see. Gilmer struggled last week. And I think if with some coaching moves on the other side, from what I hear, there might have been a different outcome if Sunnyvale would have left Adrian Peterson's brother in the game. I think they were bouncing back and forth between quarterbacks, and he was having a lot of success, and they were bouncing between 2. And so I'm going against the East Texas team as well. I just think Aubrey right now is the better team, and I think they're going to come out with a win here.
Yeah, KO, let me help you out a little bit. Okay, Aubrey's averaging 8 points a game defensively in the playoffs. Gilmer gives up 8 points a drive, it seems like. Defense is optional in Gilmer. I watched when we sat there and watched
Oh
it, Brett.
man.
Aubrey smacked Van, a team that we all thought was really good, right? Aubrey's going to win the game, and if Van struggled to score and they could score against Van, I'd hate to see what they're going to do to Gilmer. I just think they're going to be able to score a lot of points, and Gilmer will not be able to. My opinion.
I Gilmer kind of falls under a similar Carthage umbrella for me. That come playoff time, it's hard to pick against the Gilmer Buckeyes. I also think that they had been playing better defense as of late. Did not play great defensively against Sunnyvale, but they still found a way to win the football game. Same thing against Lindale earlier this season. Didn't play great defensively, found a way to win the football game. I think Gilmer has enough athletes on the field. If they can get Will Henderson going and get Tennyson where he can make some good passes and make some plays with his legs, I think Gilmer can win this game. So I'm picking Gilmer. And also, there was something else I was going to say too, and it just slipped my mind. So you know what? Never mind. On to you, Vince.
I watched Aubrey and Van, and they defense was trying to do everything they can, but their defense was on the field almost the whole game. The offense seemed to struggle to move the ball after the first drive. And I question, did it have anything to do with the quarterback who had gotten hurt and came back? I think they said something about him wearing the cast and stuff on his arm still or something like that. Because it just at times he threw like I think 2 or 3 picks. Like one of them was a pick six. It was almost like, in a way, I feel like Van handed them that game, which makes me think I don't think they're gonna get that same kind of game out of Gilmer. I think Gilmer is so good offensively. You're right. They do not play defense. They do not. Hopefully they figure that out in a week or in a couple of days, really. But I think I want to go with Gilmer in this one, just because I don't think Gilmer's just gonna hand this over to him. I don't think you're gonna see 2 or 3 picks. Because remember, I think in that Van game he threw like 2. I think it was 2 or 3 picks, but one of them was a pick six, and then he fumbled, and gave them the ball practically on like the 20 or something like that. So, I just don't see Gilmer doing that unless they just have an off night. I don't see them handing Aubrey this game over. So, I'm gonna give me Gilmer with this one.
Picking Aubrey, and here it goes. Hadn't said it in a while. It's the barely win theory, right?
Mm.
Well, what do you know about the barely
Here
win?
we go.
Here we
What
go.
does it do? When the favorite doesn't quite do what they're supposed to do. Gilmer was a favorite over Sunnyvale, right?
Mm-hmm.
They barely beat Sunnyvale. And guess what happens? It's a trap game for them because everyone in the world is gonna pick Gilmer. I know it. He's telling Gilmer, it's Gilmer. Everyone gonna run right into a buzzsaw, and Aubrey's gonna be right there. Look at the 380 schools, oh, by the way. Melissa's still playing, Aubrey's still playing, Anna's still playing. And by the way, China Springs, Bernie are all gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary, right? So 380 may be that new East Texas. They want to call it that. But anyway, no, I think Aubrey's got him. Shout out to Xavier McCoy, X-Men on the defensive line, tackle, tight end. He's got some Houston Cougar offers and all that kind of stuff. I'm rooting for him. I'm tell you what, that kid was like 5'9" 1 year, right? Now he's like 6'3", and he's like, my nephew, of course, my nephew's tall. You see my brother nephew. I'm like, dude, what are you eating? Like, how dense are you? Like, what are they feeding you in Aubrey? I don't know. I do. There's a defensive line. I don't know. But I'm going for Aubrey. I think it says it's gonna be in Commerce, right?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. I don't think I go to that game, but if it's closer, I mean, I'm gonna tell my brother, I'm like, hey, y'all got to go to the game. It's gonna be a conference. So they didn't do anything on Friday. But go Aubrey. That's the only time. That's only 9 East Texas school I'm picking, just because I want to see them succeed.
I knew that.
And it's against Gilmer. I got some personal effects against that thing.
All right. Moving on to Game 7. This game will be broadcast by our friends from our center group, the Harmony Eagles. The Harmony Eagles versus the Newton Eagles. The Battle of the Eagles in this one, guys. This one is really tough. I saw Harmony last week, and I saw how impressive they were. But Newton, they've been doing some things over in Newton. So they've had 2 games canceled this year. I don't know if it was the weather or something else, but pre-district, they kind of struggled on defense. They gave up 39, they still won. Gave up 54, they still won. But then they hit district play, guys. Points allowed 0, 8, 0, 0, 6, 0, 12, 7, all the way to where they are right now. Now, I look at it and the teams they play, I don't think they were super great here. I mean, nothing blows me away. Their pre-district schedule was tough. But they beat New Boston 69-7 last round. It's the only common opponent that I saw here on the board. It was Queen City. Sorry, no, it wasn't New Boston. It was Queen City, 69-12. Okay, so Harmony beat Queen City 38-8. So I look at that and I'm like, that's a pretty big difference in score. I did see Harmony. They looked really good last week. I mean, Jeremy and I saw them. They basically did whatever they wanted in the ARP game. They've got size up front. They've got a good running game. They've got Jenkins outside that makes one-handed catches all over the place. So as good as Newton's looked, this is probably my upset special, and it may not be my upset except for the fact that Newton's pretty highly ranked and touted in the area. So I'm gonna go with Harmony in this one, but I think this may be one of the better games of the week.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do this. I'll do it today.
Okay.
Man, I've been wrong about Harmony all year, boys. I was not sold on it being more than lightning in a bottle last year. They're pretty freaking talented. They're pretty good. Seeing them in person makes it look a lot different. You see scores or whatever, and you think they are what they are. I tell you though, KO, you've been holding out on us on Evan Weber though, because we hear a lot about Seahorn and those guys.
I told you about Evan Weber last
I
week.
forgot, but
I said something about Evan Weber last week.
Evan Weber,
he said, ha
without Weber, the thing doesn't go the way it goes. Truthfully, I'll just be honest with you. I mean, you can't just focus on Boston Seahorn, who's man. The phrase "game manager" is looked at negatively. It's not. He is a game manager. He knows exactly when to pull the right strings at the right time. Tyson Jenkins on the outside making the plays he does is great. And defensively, we talked about their defensive line. It is like Division I size up front what they have out there. And so that I am going to say all that to say there is one negative thing, Brett. And you and I talked about this. You got to respect your opponent, and you got to respect the game. And I would just be very leery of bringing out an inflatable eagle and kicking it around this week. That
was
I didn't like that. And look, it's high school kids. I get it. I'm with you. Whatever you got to do to get motivated. But when you're winning by 30 points at halftime, don't bring it back after the second half. Whatever. I think Harmony's going to win the game, but I will say, respect the game. As they say in basketball, Corey, the ball don't lie. And at some point, you're going to disrespect the wrong person, and the game has a way of getting you back. But Harmony's a really good football team. I'm looking for it. I think they're going to get the win, and I think we could have a potential Harmony Dangerfield matchup next week that could be one of the best ones around, in my opinion. I am a believer in Harmony in what they're doing, and I just think they're the better team.
I know nothing about the inflatable eagle. What happened with the inflatable eagle?
So they came out. They came out of the tunnel with this like blow up tiger, and they're just kicking it around the sideline like repeatedly, which is at the beginning, like whatever, but then they come back out with halftime doing it again, and I'm like, come on, guys, like you're beating them by 35 at halftime or whatever the score was. Like enough's enough, and so just respect your opponent. Listen, they're high school kids. I get it. I coach them all the time. I know how hard that is, and they did nothing that they thought about was disrespectful. They just thought it was something to do. I get that, but
It was on a leash too, and they were kicking
it
it
was
around.
on a leash. It was on a
That's
leash.
awesome.
Got a
Yeah, it
tiger
was.
on the leash.
If you
Damn, Karen.
go back and watch the broadcast, we pointed out, and you can see it clearly on the broadcast. But either way, it was it was funny at first, and I thought it was not so funny the second time. But they're going to win the game. KO. I told Brett in the box I have to apologize to KO because Harmony's good. They're
Well,
really good.
and you talked about Seahorn managing the game, but what was kind of overlooked, and we kind of figured it out later, was he basically put a lockdown on Zane Bork.
Oh man.
Yeah, he plays safety too.
Well,
Yeah,
he
so
played
he
corner
matched
the
up.
other night.
Yeah, he was playing corner, and he followed Bork around wherever he went.
Athlete on athlete.
So as soon as he came out at the end, all of a sudden Bork had a drive. It was like Bork touchdown. Like they hit like 3 or 4 plays to Bork in a row and scored. But that was after Seahorn was out of the game. So you saw immediately the impact that he had while he was in there. So that was what impressed me as much. I mean, honestly, he was just following those big uglies up front at the whole game. Like he just followed right behind him and didn't take much effort. They were getting 6, 7, 8 yards.
He and Weber are such patient runners. The one thing that does concern me, KO, and you may know more about this, their lack of a kicking game, I'm afraid is going to get them in a bind at some point. I mean, it's not like they almost make extra points. It's like it barely gets to the line of scrimmage sometimes. So they need to figure that out. They were basically having open tryouts for kicker on the kickoffs, but I just think when you get later in the playoffs, that extra point situation, you can't rely on getting 2 every time. And so that's the one thing I think they need to fix on the field is the kicking situation. And they may not be able to fix it this year, but that's something. If you want to be a perennial year in year out team, you got to find a way to get that worked out.
Well, yeah, they didn't have a kicking game last year either. So, yes, and then when they lost, it didn't come into effect because it was 51-28.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. I've been trying to put you on this Harmony bandwagon for the last 2 years, and I've got Brett and Jeremy on it. Vince, Corey, I need y'all to watch some Harmony. Well, I think Corey's kind of on there too. Vince, I need you to hop on the Harmony bandwagon with me now. I need you to watch these Harmony Eagles. They're inspiring. They're good to watch. Seriously though, everything you just described is the exact Harmony team that I was able to see fortunate enough to follow throughout the postseason last year. Like they're big up front. Boston controls the game. He doesn't even there's been games where the first couple of drives, they're just negative play after negative play. He doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. He just kind of stays even keel and leads the team and gets them back to where they need to go. Tyson Jenkins on the outside, I think that is the biggest improvement from last season to this season with Harmony, because Tyson was there last year, but he wasn't really utilized a lot or as much until playoff time. Well, now he's out here scoring 3 tutties in a game and just taking over games. I think the Harmony's always, since I've been covering Harmony, they've always had a strong run game. Run game has been phenomenal. This past game is when they've struggled. Even when Coach Russell was there, they couldn't throw the ball very well, and that got them in a lot of binds. Now, adding to the fact that they can throw the ball, and it's more than Tyson Jenkins. They got Will Young out there too that can really play. They have some athletes on the outside that they could get the ball to, and I think them getting a better passing game this year actually makes them better than the team they were last year that made it to the state semifinals. So give me Harmony over Newton. They played last year at SFA, and Harmony won 36-22. I would expect kind of a similar score this year because Newton's going to be – they're not going to be a pushover. But I think Harmony's battle-tested, and that's the thing too. Evan Weber was hurt majority of last season and early on this year. So, yeah, it was falling a lot more on Boston. So Harmony's faced a lot of injuries this year. When they're healthy, like they were against ARP, when they're healthy, they are a very good football team. And yeah, give me the Harmony Eagles. I'm not picking against them.
I got Harmony written down here, but I didn't know about the disrespect. Cause the way I look at, I don't know, it's just the way I look at life. When you do stupid stuff like that, and I'm gonna call it stupid, you ain't got to do all of that. When you do stupid stuff like that, it come back to you. It come back around, you know. And man, I feel like Newton. see it. I don't know.
Mm.
Something
So
telling me
you
that
going with
that's
Newton.
this is this is why you get beat, because you come out here disrespecting opponents like that, thinking that you just gonna roll on them. Ah. Mm. All right. KO, you want me to go with Harmony? You want me on the bandwagon?
You can be wrong if you want to. You can go with Newton. So
Hey, could be wrong.
You've already been wrong once tonight, Vince. It's okay to be wrong again.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you know, I'm okay with standing alone. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm going with Newton. Give me Newton. I don't like that level of disrespect. You ain't gotta come out there kicking no inflatables. You know, you ain't gotta come out there and do all them antics. Play football.
You know, on this show, we only use good reasoning to make our picks.
You know, I'm gonna take an insert what Michael Jordan said on the Last Dance, and I give him this kind of respect for it just a little bit. He said, it's all fun and games when the score 0-0. You know, that's when you know you're real opponent. You talking noise like that before the game when it's 0-0. So I respect him for doing that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, it's a little noise talk. But in the second half, you're already winning. You know, you don't have to drop a knife. You know what I'm saying? That's you know, whether or not, you know, it is what it is. You don't have to drop a knife. Unless some other people from the other team was talking noise and everything else, I kind of get it. But other than that, I don't know the real backstory. You know, when it's 0-0, yeah, I got it. But when you are driving a knife, that's whatever. But I will say this: I'm going with Harmony, the hot eye, Harmony, and of course, my favorite name, the Seahorn from Boston. You know, I'm loving the Harmony Eagles at this point. You know, good story, good back. That 9-6 last year, 10-2 this year. They beat Newton, like KO said earlier. They beat Newton. I had it written down. And I'm like, you know, but I don't like trap games. It feels like a trap game. Could be because Newton didn't forget. Newton did not forget. You know, so Harmony's got to be careful. You know, that other opponent across the way, Newton is historic. Everyone knows Newton's always good. They can't overlook Newton. That's all I'm saying. Come in, focus. Now I dare you. I dare you to have an inflatable eagle. I dare you to have an inflatable eagle.
I
Now,
wish
you
you
that bold. I give you a lot of credit. You that bold, I give you a lot of credit.
would.
Now y'all watch this show Wednesday. How many? I dare you to have an inflatable
I
eagle
know.
Friday. And if you do and you win, my man,
I
hats off.
tell all the special
Hats off.
teams, y'all can go ahead and take y'all pads off. Y'all through. We going for every fourth down from here on out. No field goals, no
Ah,
nothing.
but I like it. I like it. I like it with 0-0. I like it with a 0-0. Let's go. Go on Harmony.
All right. Let's move along here to game 8 in this same region. We'll take on the winner of the Harmony Newton game. This game will be Friday, 6 p.m. in Bobcat Stadium in Hallsville, where we were last week. And actually, it's another game that we'll be doing, Jeremy and I, and a question mark on Vince, depending on what he decides to do. West Rusk at 10-2 versus Dangerfield at 9-3. Man, this is a heck of a game as well. Dangerfield's impressive. I had Hooks last week, and they just spanked Hooks and up and down the field. I mean, 33-6. I figured it would be a good game either way, but man, they just destroyed them. West Rusk is one of those teams we've talked about a lot this year. I mean, they've played a lot of great teams. They spanked ARP in district, which ARP had a good season. They also beat Troop, and of course, Troop was out the first round. But I just don't see. I mean, as much as I love West Rusk and what they've done this year, I don't see them win this game against Dangerfield. I think Dangerfield's going to be too much for them. So I think Dangerfield wins. I hope it's a good game. for broadcasting purposes, but I don't know. I just think Dangerfield's going to have more athletes on the field. You got Hampton and Chase Johnson. Those guys are impressive, and I'm looking at possibly a rematch with Harmony and Dangerfield next week.
I think the more up in the air prediction for this game would be, will me and you make it on air in time for the game?
Yeah.
You look at what Dangerfield did last week, and with what they have going, Corey always talks about who's playing your best right now. They're playing their best right now. They're playing right now as good as they have all year long.
It was a statement win.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Cole Jackson, Noah Murphy in person for West Rusk or whatever, but to see Hampton and Chase Johnson, those guys on the field for Dangerfield, I think that what Dangerfield does offensively is so impressive. They've got athletes everywhere. I just don't know if West Rusk has enough in the tank to win this one. Give me Dangerfield, but I think West Rusk, just because they're the past few years, the way they've been in game, I think they'll keep it competitive. I think they'll put up a good fight. I just think Dangerfield, man, they're playing as good as you could have asked them to play right now.
Yeah, West Rusk has some tremendous athletes. Ty Harper included with the Cole Jackson and Noah Murphy. But Dangerfield, man, it's hard to go against Bubba Hampton and Chase Johnson on the other side. And I think I'm going to use the same theory I used with Garrison early on. Dangerfield wants that rematch with Harmony. Dangerfield wants to meet with Harmony in that next round, assuming Harmony wins. But, assuming both teams win, they want that rematch. So, yeah, give me Dangerfield. I just think they're the better team right now, and I think they're playing better ball. For them to hold that Hooks team to 6 points is impressive. They put up 92 the week before and then get held to 6. I just think Dangerfield is playing some really good football right now, so give me the Tigers.
I'm gonna go with West Russ. I don't really have a big explanation behind it. I mean, these are two good teams. Regardless to what happens, I think it's gonna be a close one. But I feel like I'm more familiar with West Russ than what I am with Dangerfield. So that's why I decided to go with West Russ. But it wouldn't shock me if Dangerfield pulled it off. So but yeah, give me West Russ in this one.
I'm gonna tell you what. I did not see Dangerfield beating Hooks that bad. I don't think anybody saw them beating Hooks that bad. I don't think anybody saw them beating Hooks. A lot of people didn't see that, but they did. And you beat a pretty good foot. Hooks is whooping everybody this year. And they put 55 on. Listen, I don't care what you say. That's a statement. You know what I'm saying? They said they went left hook, right hook. It didn't matter. They put them down. I'm picking Dangerfield. You put up 55 on somebody in the playoffs that's been playing well all year.
33. Is it 55 or 33?
They're ready.
33-6.
Yeah, 33-6.
33. Okay. Who they put 55 on? Somebody put 55 on somebody. My bad. Okay. 33. But still, you ready. They're ready.
Hooks scored all 8 points against Edgewood. That's their fault.
They used them all up.
They used it all up.
They used up all the mulligans. Huh?
Yeah, they didn't have nothing left.
They were getting ready for basketball season. 92-57.
What's up next?
All right. Game 9. This game is going to be played at, let's see, I believe this one's in Pine Tree as well. Let me find where my list was. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Yeah, it's the 7 p.m. game. So this game will be following the Carthage and Pleasant Grove game. The Lucas Lovejoy versus Texas High. Both teams 11-1. This is going to be a really good game too. Pine Tree, I don't know what they did this year to get two of these best games around, but man, they doing it right, Corey. I guess Shine Tree, they're out, but they're getting good playoff games over there.
Not happening. Not happening out there.
I'm just looking at this game and we've seen what Texas High has done. They're 11-1. We had the questionable overtime loss last week of the season to Pine Tree. Other than that, they've just taken care of their opponents. And I went back and looked at Lovejoy, and they've been impressive as well. The Leopards come in with their only loss to North Crowley. That was their third game of the season. But they've been putting it to some folks. We talked about defense. They gave up. They played College Station, which they're always a really good team. Gave up 37 to them early. They still won. They beat Argyle 42-14. You know how good Argyle usually is. They lost to North Crowley. They gave up 43. But since then, they gave up 20 to Terrell, 7 to Denison. They shut out Princeton, shut out Crandall. They gave up 7 to Mesquite Petite, 7 to Greenville, 7 to Melissa, and they beat Pine Tree 34-6. And then Ennis, they only gave up 7. So basically, their defense has looked really impressive. They've had some impressive wins to me. The one that sticks out to me is Argyle, 42-14 of Argyle. Man, Argyle's always good. They're good every year. And so I'm going with Lovejoy in this one, guys. I think Texas High, like, to me, I don't know. They just haven't. The district I don't think was as strong this year. They didn't have the schedule wasn't as tough. We questioned them early when they only beat Tyler Legacy by 3 with a little field goal at the end. Sorry, Eddie. I think Texas High goes down. I think Lovejoy gets the win here.
Yeah, the week after Pine Tree beat Texas High, Lovejoy beat them by 28 in the first round, right? 2 words for you from Lovejoy: Parker Livingstone, right? You hadn't heard that name, go look it up. Kid's a very talented offensive weapon. I expect him to have a big game. I think Lovejoy wins the game. There's a reason why they have that number 1 beside their name for a lot of the year, right? That's a good football team. You mentioned what they did to Melissa. To Argyle. We know Melissa is a quality football team too, right? They held them to 7 points. I think Lovejoy is probably too much for Texas High. And look, Texas High Eddie's been telling us they've been playing some young guys. They've had some guys injured, whatever. Lovejoy's a better football team. Lovejoy's going to win, and this is something that Texas High can take into the offseason and into next year. But I think the Leopards are too much in this one.
Yeah, I've heard everything y'all said about Lovejoy, but give me Texas High. Because I haven't seen Lovejoy, but I've seen Texas High, and I liked how they looked against White House that night that I seen them.
There.
So because of that reasoning, back to your point, Jeremy, we're using sound reasoning tonight when we're making our picks. Because of the game against White House at least 3 or 4 weeks ago, give me the Texas High Tigers.
It's easy to go with the evil, you know.
I'm already done because that's exactly what I was about to say. So,
Vince, me and you tonight, we're right here, man. We're locked in.
Because I was like, man, they missing this White House game. So yeah, I got Texas High. Back to you, Corey.
Yeah, I'm picking Texas High. Y'all picking Texas High. I got Texas High rolled down. You're playing well all season. Now this last game kind of almost got away from them, but I think it's gonna be a good matchup. I think it's gonna be a good game. But I'm picking Texas High.
Okay, so y'all talked how good Texas High was. They beat White House. They lost to Melissa 21-49. And Lovejoy beat Melissa 28-7.
We're not worried about what happened in the past.
Okay.
We're worried about this Friday night or afternoon night. We're not worried about what happened in the past. We're worried about this Friday.
All right. Just trying to give you a little information.
I stand by my pick, Brett.
Okay.
Go T-High.
Okay. All right. You're just trying to get more points with Eddie. That's okay. We understand that. You got to make up for it because you already picked against his Pleasant Grove team.
Well, and tonight he's not going to like what I have to say either.
Oh God.
Teaser alert there.
Stay tuned.
Game 10, guys. Iowa Colony versus Chapel Hill. Kind of thought this might be a Chapel Hill Lindell rematch, guys, and Iowa Colony said, not so fast, my friend. They put it to Lindell. And so I think for Chapel Hill, Iowa Colony is almost a clone to their team. I think they do a lot of the same things. They've got a lot of good athletes. I think the difference is Chapel Hill, to me, has a lot of players that have experience in the playoffs. They've been in the big games. I don't think the big game's going to phase them. Question is, Iowa Colony, when they get down to it, are they going to be able to, if they face adversity in a playoff game, are they going to, have the experience? Chapel Hill's been in all kinds of games. They've been ahead, they've been behind. In the last 3 seasons prior to this one, they've played 5, 10, 13 playoff games. They've already got 2 more, so 15 playoff games in 4 years. Some of those kids have been on all those games. They've got, a few of the juniors and seniors that have been in those games. So I just look at that who they've played. Y'all were talking about how Needville was going to get smacked by Kilgore. They beat Needville by 4. They beat Bay City by 1. They beat Navasota, which they're down. There's not really anybody on their schedule that really impresses me. Honestly, I think Lindale was their best win. It was last week. Obviously, Chapel Hill lost to Lindale, but I think that was it was in Lindale. It's always tough to win there. Lindale had a good game plan, and it worked out. I think they play that one again. I think Chapel Hill wins. And I'm going to take Chapel Hill here, guys. I just think that, to me, it's going to go down to the number of games that they've got in the playoffs, the experience that they have, and I just think they're going to have a little bit better athletes and a little bit more experience for Iowa Colony.
Well, I'm not gonna gain any ground on you this week, Brett, because I think you and I are 10 for 10 on matching here. I'm gonna go with Chapel Hill as well. I picked Iowa Colony last week over Lindale. You guys thought I was crazy, whatever. They're young, right? They don't even have a senior class. They're freshmen. The quarterback's a freshman. The rest of their guys are all sophomores and juniors. Here's the thing: they've been playing against boys. Now they're getting 2 men in Brisbane and Stewart, right? Like, what they've seen has not been those 2 guys. And you look up the numbers that those 2 guys together have been putting up there. You're right. You mentioned the light games. They beat Bay City by a point. They beat Needville by 4. They beat El Campo just by 18 last week. Chapel Hill won 54-18. But we were watching the game, Brett. Chapel Hill could have scored 80 against El Campo if they really wanted to. It was just a game they dominated from beginning to end. I don't think that Iowa Colony this year can handle that. Down the road, next year, 2 years, can they? We'll see. But they're not doing it this week. Chapel Hill's is going to win, and I think it may be a performance like what you saw him do it against El Campo last week. I think that it's possible that Brisbane and Stewart could just go off in this one, and Iowa Colony won't have an answer.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Iowa Colony, man. They not a senior on the team, but it's almost that thing, Jeremy. You don't know what you don't know.
That's true.
Even they haven't been here before, but they don't know the expectation either.
Yeah.
They haven't been here. I do agree with you. I think Chapel Hill is going to be the toughest test that Iowa Colony has seen this year. Brisbane and Stewart in the backfield, Javen Mayfield on the outside that can get some things going. Offensively has never been an issue for Chapel Hill. It's been the defense that we've been concerned about. So I'll be interested to see what kind of game plan defensively they come up with to try and slow down Iowa Colony. But I think the horses that Chapel Hill has, and to your point, Brett, the experience that they have in the playoffs. I know I just said you don't know what you don't know, but experience does help. And so I'm taking Chapel Hill. I think it'll be close, but I'm going to take the Chapel Hill Bulldogs, set up a rematch with Kilgore next week.
But to your point real fast, Kale, you talk about not knowing what you don't know and the experience. What the not knowing does is it makes them more free, right? The expectation, the pressure's not there. It doesn't change how much physically better Chapel Hill is. It just makes them more dangerous because they're playing with no expectation, no limit. Yeah. But it's still the better team's a better team. But you're right. I think all those things are a factor.
I'm going with Chapel Hill. I don't really understand. I didn't watch the game between Lindale and Iowa Colony, but I knew that Iowa Colony was down at the half, 14-0. And something I saw Brett yesterday, and I told him, I said, if you give Chapel Hill a 14-point lead, you're not coming back. Like I don't think anybody can give Chapel Hill a 14-point lead and come back in it. The way Chapel Hill is built, they score fast, and when they're ahead, that's it. It's practically a wrap at that point. So give me Chapel Hill. Although let me say, Iowa Colony, they're 12-0. They're 12-0. Good job on the season. You pulled off a win against Lindale. I don't know what happened with Lindale. Maybe they just ran out of gas when they needed it. But they started kind of shaky and then they picked it up. Got a big win against Chapel Hill. So um, great job as far as being able to pull off that win against them. I'm actually sitting there right now watching some of the highlights, and it just the fact that you're telling me that these are a bunch of young freshmen and sophomores, they look good. They look they look really good. But I think this is the end of the road. So
I'm about to say a lot here, but it's all gonna be true. All right. First of all, I'm gonna hold up this. Go Bulldogs. My rally towel or my scarf. Um, I did say that Lindale would win last week, and I wasn't backing down from that because I still saw a young, immature team from our colony, and I saw a veteran team from Lindale. Lindale just didn't have horses in the stable that day, and I don't know if they got off the gas, but I think Lindale kind of got wide eyed and saw the score, saw the momentum change a little bit, and they just figured they just couldn't outrun them. That's okay. That happens. Tough loss, and man, when you're young, and we're all young once before. KO's a little younger now, but we're all young once before. Man, you could just go and go and go, and you fall down and hurt your ankle, and an hour later you be up running again. You don't know what you don't know when you're young, right? But eventually, sometime you get a little older, and it's like, man, I can't roll my ankle like that. It's gonna take a little time. Be patient. Be patient. Your time is coming. Be patient. Iowa Colony is a Chapel Hill clone. They're athletes galore. I don't think they know what they know just yet. They will be dangerous next year and the year after that. If they continue to grow, they will be a powerhouse. Um, I think they have what it takes. They've got some individual athletes that are scary, and that quarterback is a blur. And I think the quarterback that's a blur is a junior. The freshman quarterback is still just as fast, and he's a playmaker. They have what I think 25 or 30 interceptions on the year. So this lets you know you don't throw the ball, they'll house it in a minute. I'm giving them all their props to say this. This game Chapel's got to win. This is a game that if you're any of the coaches, Chapel Hill, you're telling your guys you need to be locked in. This is a game you're locked in. I'm gonna give you a scenario game that this reminds me of. Right? Think back 3 years ago
mhm.
when Demetrius Brisbane and Ricky Stewart were both freshmen. They played against a team out of Austin LBJ. Austin LBJ was loaded. Only difference between that team was Austin LBJ was undefeated. Chapel Hill lost few football games. But you had some freshman sensations, a young football team, inexperienced football team versus the LBJ team that made it how far the previous year? Now, I say that to say this also. I'm gonna talk about the Chapel Hill community, and I'm gonna talk about the people talking about the side of the game because I have to address this. 3 hours and 17 minutes versus 2 hours and 5 minutes. You know what that was? That was Austin LBJ traveling to the Frisco Star versus Chapel Hill traveling to the Star. An hour more, and they didn't hear a word from anybody. They came, they buckled their chin strap, and they took a game from us. Be quiet about travel. Go to the game, play it, you win it. You do that the next week, more than likely you'll be playing in East Texas. You do that the next week, more than likely you'll be playing in Dallas. Don't bring this to so now you got the kids worrying about, well, Cole, we got to travel. Doesn't matter. I don't want the kids thinking, well, we're at a disadvantage. You're not at a disadvantage. The game is played on the field, not in the stands. Slap the opponent in the face. No disrespect. This is that type of game. Dominate the field. Play the game on the field. Don't worry about the stands. Don't worry about the community page. Play the football game. If you do that, Chapel Hill wins handed. If they don't, they will lose this next week. I'm done.
All right. That's nice. Well, that's the picks, fellas, for this week. If you want to hear what we thought about last week's games, make sure you tune in tonight for the weekly wrap-up show. We'll be back with some of our thoughts. We had a lot of games that we were covering around the area, so we've got some, inside scoops on all that. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Power Plus Mouthguard, for sponsoring today's show. For Jeremy, Kyle, Vince, and Corey, we'll catch you next week right here on the bEast from the East. We'll see how many teams are still alive from East Texas when we come back next week. Hopefully we have a lot of teams left to talk about. Until then, catch us tonight. We can wrap a show 8:30 p.m. Y'all have a great Thanksgiving weekend and week. Night, everybody.
Feast week. Let's go, baby.
Truly, before now, I didn't really know what actually a mouthpiece was designed for, other than to keep you from clinking your teeth together or biting your tongue. I had no idea that it was to align your jaw. The season that we did not use the Power Plus, we lost 4 kids, 2 that were season-ending concussions, and obviously we contributed to the Power Plus mouth guard because, like I said, we've not had one since we've been using them. Obviously, we've competed a lot better than what we did last year. We have not had a concussion this season. Obviously a tremendous factor for us for not losing kids, and their performance level is a lot higher as well. My son was actually the quarterback on the second state championship team, but one of the things that he was able to do as being the quarterback, the mouth guard was on the lower part of his bite, so he was able to speak clearly, and that's a huge thing in athletics, is to be able to communicate.